Hello students, welcome to the session. Today we are going to discuss about the load line and other parameters related to this subject. So let us have a brief recap of what we have discussed earlier so that the next topic will be easy to understand. First, we will see about the symbol and structure of BJT. Everyone must remember the symbol and structure of the transistor. And which transistor we are talking about? If in examination, if any transistor specific name is not mentioned, then we have to consider it as BJT. So if name is not given, we will consider it as BJT, that is bipolar junction transistor. Here we have two types of bipolar junction transistors. One is NPN, the arrow is going outside. Another one is PNP, the arrow is coming inside. This is the symbol which we use to construct a device on paper. This circuit symbol, while drawing circuit, you have to connect your batteries and resistances to these three terminals: emitter, base and collector. So this is about symbol. Many students get confused between symbol and structure. Structure is something which talks about the inner behavior, the inside working of a device, like transistor, how electrons and hole rotates or moves inside the device. That is explained in the structure. Structure is about the material. So we have NPN. These are three extrinsic semiconductors which form a transistor, BJT, NPN transistor. So this is the structure. Left side is the structure. And if you get some question where if someone asks you which type of BJT is commonly used, so the answer should be NPN. NPN transistor is most commonly used. In our discussion also, we take the example of NPN transistor. So if you take PNP transistor, the only difference will be the arrow of emitter and you have to rotate the polarities, right? So this particular, if you talk about the structure, this is the very simplest form. In this structure, one more thing where we have to remember the junctions. We have two junctions here. One is J1, another one is J2. Junction 1 is also called as emitter base junction or simply EB junction, because this junction, what is junction? Junction is the border which separates P type and N type. So for this particular left side, this N and P is having one border. It is called as junction 1, or it is also called as emitter base junction because it is connected with emitter and base. I think it's heavily raining now, so and the power is off. However, we will continue it. And the J2, the junction 2, is between base and collector. So it is also called as CB junction or J2. We have to remember this thing. We have two junctions for this transistor. And if we expand this particular structure, we have seen how exactly it works inside. So this is the diagram for it, where we have discussed the current components inside the bipolar junction transistor. So we have from N side, it is heavily doped, we get heavy number of electrons and there is some leakage kind of current at base. Again in detail we will discuss later. In last session also we have discussed about it. So this is about the circuit and symbol and junctions we have to remember. So we have two junctions here, J1, it is also called as EB junction, and we have J2, that is also called as collector base junction. So these things we have to remember. Next, we'll see the lab setup, how we calculate the characteristics of any transistor. For calculating characteristic, the main parameter which we calculate are currents and voltages. All the devices in electronics, they deal with the current and voltages. So for calculating the voltage and current, we require ammeters and voltmeters. So if I have to calculate the input characteristic, this one is common emitter configuration, right? This is the example of common emitter configuration where emitter is common between input side and output side. The reason we have discussed in the previous sessions. So input side characteristic, are similar to diode. That also we have discussed. And how we calculate the graphs between the inputs and outputs? By taking ammeters and voltmeters. What we have to remember here, ammeter is always connected in the series. If I want to calculate it here, so I will connect this ammeter, this symbol A is showing ammeter. On ammeter we calculate the current. It is a device, practically we will see in practical session. It is a device which calculates the current, how much current is flowing in the input side, at the base side. And another parameter is voltage. So voltage is calculated in parallel. We have to connect voltmeter to calculate voltage. That thing we connect across the input side in parallel. Similarly, if you have to calculate the output characteristic, voltage will be in parallel at output side and ammeter will be in series at the output side. These two meters will calculate the currents, right? Apart from that, we may have the base resistance, collector resistance, or even emitter resistances. Here we can see BC107. This is the number of that particular transistor. Manufacturers, they develop various ICs, transistors, and they give particular number to that particular device. Like in diodes, we have seen IN4007. 4007 is a number of that particular diode type. So this term is given by manufacturer, the company, they give it on the device. It is printed, so we need not bother about it. Just it is there so that we should not get confused. That's why we should know what is it. Then next, we have to remember one more thing. Common ammeter is not the only configuration. We have three terminals for the transistor: base, emitter, and collector. We can make any one terminal common. So in the first example, we can common the base, common base. Here base is common, and here we can see emitter is common, like the previous session. And the most commonly used configuration is common ammeter. Most commonly used transistor is NPN. NPN transistor with common ammeter configuration is most commonly used. So what are the inputs and outputs? These we have already discussed in the previous session. And this one is common collector. All of you should be able to draw this diagrams properly. How to remember? The most common thing you have to remember, that you have to keep your device in active region in most of the cases. While drawing it in examination, most of the time they ask about the active region. So what we have to do, we have to make junction 1 as forward bias and junction 2 as reverse bias. What is junction 1? That is emitter base junction. That means input side. Input side should be forward bias, and output side, that is collector base junction or junction 2, should be reverse bias. Just now we have discussed about the junction. We have two junctions, one at input side, another one at output side. So these junctions must be in this particular condition: input forward bias, output reverse bias. These are all in active region. But if someone asks you to construct the device in cutoff region, what we have to do? Just change the for reverse bias. Cutoff means off. Reverse bias means off condition. So input and output side both should be off. So what you have to do for making it off? Right now it is forward bias. Just you change the polarity. Where there is plus, you make it minus. Wherever there is minus, you make it plus. It is about the polarity. To make anything positive or forward bias, you have to connect P type to positive terminal and N type to negative terminal. To make reverse bias, you have to connect P type to negative terminal and N type to positive terminal. That's it. It's very simple. So like this you can remember the structure. And if someone asks you, you draw a common collector configuration in saturation region. So in saturation region, both the sections input and output must be on, because we are talking about logic 1 here. So common collector, you have to take collector common. So arrow, emitter arrow will go towards the output, right? And input side, you will have VCB and IB. So this one you have to make forward bias. So this is already, so you have to make, this is P and P. So N is connected with negative, P is connected with positive, this is forward bias. Output should also be forward bias. So just you have to change the polarity. It's simple. So but you have to remember all those things. You have to practice it once. Hopefully this will be your assignment part today. Then next, now we will discuss about the beta and region behavior. We have discussed about beta in the previous session. What is beta? Beta is the gain. Alpha and beta, two parameters we have seen. Both of them are gains. What is gain? Gain is the profit, we can term in simple language. So it is given by the output by input. So for this circuit, if output is IC and input is IB, then beta will be equal to IC by IB. So from here we can say IC is equal to beta into IB. So this particular case is true for linear region, that is active region. In active region it works as an amplifier. We have discussed about it in previous session. What if it is in other regions? What are other common regions? This is about active region, IC is equal to beta IB. But if we are in another region where it is on, so there, this one is, we'll discuss the cutoff. In cutoff region, the device will be off. If it is off, everything will be zero, no current. Then only it can be termed as off condition. No input current, no output current, no emitter current, nothing, right? So this condition is called as off condition, where beta is not considered. This is cutoff. Here in on condition, just we will change this one. This is not applicable here. So this is about saturation region. What happens in saturation? Input and output side both should be forward bias. So in that case, beta is not equal to IC by IB. It is less than IC by IB. So there is one more difference we have to remember about the beta. So beta, if it is in saturation region, then it is less than IC by IB. If it is in cutoff region, everything is zero, right? So we have to remember this thing also for various regions. Now we will move back to our discussion on the DC load line. Before that, we will have a flash about the characteristic. Characteristic graph is similar, and for all the configurations you have to draw it like this. We have discussed it. Now what is the DC load line? DC load line is the line we draw on the characteristic graph. If it is output graph is most commonly between the voltage and current. In that also you have to remember, vertical line is for current, horizontal line is for voltage. Why we keep on remembering it? Because in examination, if you draw voltage on vertical axis and current on horizontal axis, your answer will be wrong. So if our output is IC, output voltage is VC, so we will change the input current. Here you can see input current values are changing. IB is 20 microampere. In the previous diagram we have seen we have ammeter and voltmeter. We change the value at input and we observe the output. So IB is the controlling place where we give the current and we control the output part. So here we get IB, we keep on increasing the value of IB, and this increment of IB will give rise to various graphs. On this graph we have seen we have active region, cutoff region and saturation region. So what we have to do here for the DC load line understanding, for understanding this line is DC load line. Let us discuss it in detail. So this one is the DC load line. So we have to get a maximum level point on current axis, that is vertical axis. We have to get a maximum point on the voltage axis, that is horizontal axis. So we have one saturation point, we have one cutoff point, and that the line joining them is called as the DC load line. On this DC load line, we have to fix one operating point, a Q point, a quality point, or simply quiescent point. Operating point is the point where we want to operate our device, because there are various applications of the transistors we have discussed. We can use it as amplifier, we can use it as a switch, we can use it as voltage variable resistor. Where to use it? Where should be our operating point? What should be the values of input current and output current when we want to use it as in a particular region. If it is in active region, we can use it as amplifier. Where should be my quality point? That quality point or Q point will be on this DC load line. How to identify that? It depends on the application we want to use out of this transistor. So let us see how to calculate DC load line. It's mathematics. So first, if I have to calculate the saturation point A, so say point A is on the saturation point A is the maximum current what we are giving. Here we can see IB 1, 2, 3, 4, the changing values of IB, input current we are changing. In the expanded form of diagram, we have seen it with all the details. This is the detailed diagram with all the current values and voltage values. This is the simplified diagram you can use to remember or practice, right? And here we are showing it may be 20 microampere, 30, 40 or any other value what we are setting at the input. So if we talk about this particular line, what is the equation for our system by applying Kirchhoff's voltage law? We may have VC is equal to VCC minus RC. Why we get that? This is VCC, the supply voltage. Now let us check it with some diagram. Let this diagram is there. VCC is the output voltage. What will be this voltage? This total voltage is divided between these particular part. One is this particular straight line part of transistor and another one is this resistance. So this VCC will be equal to voltage across RC plus voltage across transistor. What is voltage across transistor? We have to use the Ohm's law. What is Ohm's law? V is equal to IR. Everyone must remember, even in examples we require it. So when we say V is equal to IR, the simplest Ohm's law. So I is IC, right? IC and the resistance is RC. So voltage across it will be IC RC. This is one voltage, and second voltage across this particular transistor is VC. So what will be VCC equal to? VCC will be equal to VCE plus RC. Right? So from here, if I say what is VCE is equal to, VCE will be equal to VCC minus RC into IC into RC. So this one we will use in this expression for discussing the load line. So here we have VC is equal to VCC minus ICRC from Ohm's law and Kirchhoff's law. Both we are using. But if on this line, on the vertical line, what is the value of voltage? It's 0. On this axis, current is increasing, but voltage is at 0. Voltage is increasing in this side, towards the right. Voltage value on this particular line is 0. So for finding out this point A, where VC is 0. So this particular VC, which is nothing but which is increasing, will be 0. So the remaining expression will be VCC minus ICRC. From here, output current will be given by VCC by RC. So this VCC by RC is the formula for point A. Similarly, we can find out point B, that is at the cutoff. So at cutoff, what will be value of current on this particular axis? On this axis, VCC is increasing, but IC is 0 on this axis. So in this particular part, IC is 0. So if IC is 0, this term will become 0. So we will get only VCC. So this cutoff point formula is nothing but VCC. So VC is nothing but VCC in cutoff for this particular point B. So this point B is VCC here, we have to remember it. Let us see it's the same concept with animation. What exactly happens? So we have, now this one is not symbol, this one is structure. In structure, base we are connecting with emitter, right? So what happens when we give some input voltage, input signal is given, and when we change the values we get this kind of graph, right? That is clear. And we are keep on increasing the base current to get the output characteristic. Output is IC, VC. right? And on this particular graph, we create a load line. So this load line is given between VCC by RL to VCC. Clear? Then first point, at this point it is off. So what happens in switch when our signal is going from 0 to 1? What will happen? This particular device will go from off to on condition like this. So it will go to on condition when we give the input. So above the higher values of IB, it will not work. There will be particular limit for this particular thing. Now when the load line, when we have to decide this Q point, so Q point we may keep here on this. If there are 3 graphs, so we can keep it here or here or here. So first one we will consider here. So in this region, IC is equal to beta IC, right? And the input current IB is low here. For low, there is less movement of current. Movement of current is nothing but movement of electrons. So if I increase the input IB, so what should happen? The change, my operating point will go above, but current will also increase. Now say only 1 electrons are moving, and if we give this point, increase point, now 2 electrons are moving. You can see the current is increased because we have increased the base current. For this both region, we get IC is equal to beta IB. It is applicable for both. Now if I increase further the IB, which is above the limit, then what will happen? My point will shift here, but there will be lot of current flowing across the device. The more number of electrons will move across the device. In that condition, IC won't be equal to beta IB, right? So we have to remember about DC load line and beta. Now operation mode, let us revise it in another way. We have 4 regions: saturation, active, cutoff and inverted. Inverted is used, inverted is the 4th region, we can say. It is in the reverse bias condition. It is inverted. This one is for active, saturation and cutoff in this particular segment we have seen. And if we go to this 3rd quadrant, the behavior of transistor will be inverted active. That we will see when we get the actual application, but this one also you should keep in your mind. The summary, IE, the almost IE flows into IC with minimum leakage at base. IC is equal to beta IB in normal condition, inactive. Beta is the current gain, it is approximately 100. In numericals, the value will be given. VB is 0.7. VEB for PNP it will be minus 0.7. And we have to first check the Ohm's law in example. What is Ohm's law? Everyone should know. The Ohm's law should be perfect with everyone. Let us check it in example. So now let us have this example. So this is our circuit and the question is calculate VC for the given circuit. VC is the output voltage at collector. So and what is given? VCC is 10 volt, RC is 4.7 K, VB the base voltage is 4 volt, RE emitter resistance is 3.3. So how we will calculate it? First thing, V will be equal to this voltage plus this voltage. The total voltage will be summation of addition of VE plus VB. So if we take V is equal to, it will be VB minus VB from Kirchhoff's law. VB is 4 volt. VB is not given here. If this value is not given, the voltage between base and emitter. So this we have to consider as one diode. In diode, there will be the potential value of 0.7. So we will take this 0.7 value as default. So what will be emitter voltage? Emitter voltage will be 3.3 volts. Then if we calculate IE, emitter current, again Ohm's law is current is equal to voltage by resistance. Now here current is for emitter, so we write it IE. and voltage for emitter, so VE, and voltage for resistance RE. Everything Ohm's law is applied to this particular part where current is I, voltage is emitter, and resistance is also related to emitter. So VE already we have 3.3, RE is also 3.3, but this is in kilo. This kilo ohms. So this value will get to 1 milliampere. Then we know that IC is almost equal to I. So I is 1 milliampere, so IC will also be equal to 1 milliampere. So we have to calculate the VC again by using the Kirchhoff's voltage law. VC will be equal to 10 minus IC RC, the voltage across this and the supplied voltage. At this point, there are two things. One is 10 volt, another one is the voltage across this part across 4.7 is calculated here. So VC is equal to 10 minus IC RC. We have IC, we have RC. We'll take the product. So IC is 1 into 4.7 same. So 10 minus this value 4.7 is equal to 5.3 volts. So VC is 5.3 volts. So this analysis of transistor and DC. The load line we have discussed is DC load line. Similarly, there will be AC load line with small variation that we will see in some later class. Now we will see the band diagrams. Let us discuss band diagrams and H parameters in next session. Till then, have a good day.